You think the 1970s was all avocado green appliances and shag carpets? Think again. These suburban kitchens served up some of the most creative, economical, and surprisingly satisfying ground beef dishes in American culinary history. They're real recipes served to real families across America during an era of economic uncertainty, gas shortages, and skyrocketing grocery prices. Let's dig into 25 ground beef recipes from the 1970s that kept families fed, happy, and coming back for seconds, even when times were tough. Hamburger gravy over mashed potatoes. This Depression-era holdover became a 1970s lifesaver when beef prices jumped 30% during the early recession. Working-class families from Ohio to Oregon stretched a single pound of ground beef to feed 6 people, and hamburger gravy was their secret weapon. You'd brown the meat in a cast-iron skillet, then create a roux right in that beef fat, stirring in flour until it turned golden. Milk went in next, transforming into a thick, peppery gravy studded with meat. Ladled over a mountain of buttery mashed potatoes, this dish hit your stomach like comfort in a bowl. It meant something beyond nutrition. It meant Mom could make dinner happen even when Dad's paycheck didn't stretch as far. The gravy soaked into those potatoes, creating pockets of savory richness that made you forget you were eating a budget meal. Today's trendy, elevated comfort food wishes it had this kind of soul. And if you're enjoying this trip down memory lane through America's forgotten ground beef recipes, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next culinary time capsule. We've got decades of forgotten foods to uncover together. Porcupine meatballs. Don't let the name fool you. No actual porcupines were harmed in 1970s kitchens. These meatballs got their quirky name from the white rice mixed into the ground beef that poked out during cooking. Looking like tiny quills, popular in church potlucks and ta dinners across Middle America, porcupine meatballs were the dish that brought communities together. You'd combine ground beef with uncooked rice, minced onion, and a beaten egg, rolling them into golf ball-sized spheres. The magic happened when you nestled them into a thick tomato sauce made from Campbell's condensed soup. Nobody used fresh tomatoes when it can cost $29. As they simmered on the stovetop, the rice absorbed the tomatoy liquid, expanding and pushing through the meat. The result was tender meatballs with a unique texture somewhere between a stuffed pepper and a meatloaf. They represented American ingenuity, taking 2 cheap ingredients and creating something that felt special enough for Sunday supper. Tater tot casserole. Here's where 1970s convenience culture reached its glorious peak. Tater tot casserole, affectionately called hot dish in Minnesota, combined 3 ingredients Americans couldn't get enough of: ground beef, cream of mushroom soup, and those golden frozen potato cylinders. Invented by Oida in 1953, tater tots became the crown jewel of casserole cooking by the 70s. The assembly was pure simplicity. Brown your beef with onions, spread it in a 9x13 pan, blanket it with condensed soup straight from the can, then create a geometric pattern of frozen tots across the top. 40 minutes in a 350 oven transformed this into a bubbling masterpiece with crispy topped tots and creamy beefy filling underneath. The sound of your fork breaking through that crunchy potato crust into the savory center was the dinner bell of a generation. It showed up at every church basement potluck, every funeral reception, every neighborhood gathering. Fancy? Never delicious? Absolutely. If this casserole represented American efficiency, why complicate dinner when processed perfection was this easy? Old school goulash. American chop suey. Every Midwestern grandmother had her version of this skillet meal. Though calling it goulash would make a Hungarian chef weep, this was American chop suey. The one-pot wonder that saved weekend-night dinners when Mom worked late. Born in school cafeterias during the post-war years, it exploded in home kitchens during the economically strapped 1970s. You'd brown ground beef with diced onions until everything caramelized together. Then dump in elbow macaroni, canned tomatoes, and whatever vegetables were hiding in the crisper drawer. Everything cooked together in one skillet, the pasta soaking up those tomatoy beefy juices until it turned soft and flavor-packed. The beauty was its flexibility. Green peppers if you had them, corn if you didn't, maybe some shredded cheese on top if payday was recent. It bubbled away on the stovetop, filling the house with that familiar savory aroma that meant dinner was almost ready. This wasn't fine dining. This was survival cooking that somehow tasted like home. Beef and cabbage skillet. When grocery budgets got tight in the mid-1970s, cabbage became the unsung hero of American kitchens. At 15 cents a pound, this humble vegetable could bulk up a half pound of ground beef into a meal for 5. Irish and German immigrants had brought cabbage traditions to America generations earlier, but the 70s recession made it mainstream across every ethnic background. You'd start by browning ground beef with onions in your trusty electric skillet, that avocado-colored wedding gift getting daily use. Once the meat rendered its fat, in went thick wedges of cabbage, sizzling and wilting in the beef drippings, a splash of Worcestershire sauce, some salt and pepper, maybe a can of tomatoes if you were feeling flush. The cabbage cooked down into sweet, tender ribbons that absorbed every bit of meaty flavor, transforming from $1.50 worth of vegetables into something that tasted rich and satisfying. It hit the table steaming hot, often with a side of buttered white bread for soaking up the juices. Nutritionists today would call this a one-pan wonder. Back then, it was just called making it work. Beef and macaroni skillet. Before Hamburger Helper became a household name in 1971, home cooks were already mixing ground beef with macaroni in cast-iron skillets across America. This recipe was the original Helper, stretching meat with pasta and whatever sauce you could improvise. The 1970s version became a weekend night staple because everything happened in one pan. Less cleanup meant more time for your second job or community college night classes. You'd get the beef sizzling first, breaking it into crumbles with a wooden spoon scarred from years of use. Garlic powder went in. Fresh garlic was still exotic in most American suburbs. Then came elbow macaroni, beef broth or bouillon cubes dissolved in water, and a generous pour of ketchup or tomato sauce. The magic was in letting it all simmer together, the pasta cooking directly in that beefy liquid, absorbing every molecule of flavor. When the macaroni turned tender, you'd stir in a handful of shredded cheddar that melted into stringy, gooey pockets throughout. It was simple, quick, and filled bellies without emptying wallets. That was the 1970s kitchen promise. Delivered in 30 minutes. Chipwreck casserole. With a name straight out of a church cookbook, Chipwreck casserole earned its spot on 1970s tables through sheer audacity. Someone looked at ground beef, crushed potato chips, and condensed soup and thought, let's bake this together. The result was polarizing, but undeniably popular at potlucks from Texas to Michigan. The architecture was simple but specific. Brown ground beef mixed with cream of mushroom or cream of chicken soup created the foundation. You'd layer this in a casserole dish. Then comes the controversial part, an entire bag of crushed potato chips mixed throughout and piled on top. Cheese was optional, but encouraged, usually the orange kind that came pre-shredded in a bag. Into the oven it went, emerging with those chips somehow transformed. The ones on top stayed crunchy, while the ones inside turned into salty, starchy pockets that absorbed the creamy sauce. Every bite was a texture adventure. Crispy, creamy, meaty, and absurdly indulgent. Nutritionists weren't invited to 1970s potlucks, and Chipwreck casserole was living proof. It represented an era when processed foods weren't the enemy. They were the exciting future of American cooking. Meatloaf muffins. Somebody in the 1970s had a brilliant realization. Meatloaf took forever to bake, but muffin-sized portions would cook in a fraction of the time. Thus, meatloaf muffins were born. Perfect for busy families racing between soccer practice and Tupperware parties. You'd mix ground beef with breadcrumbs soaked in milk, eggs, diced onions, and enough ketchup to make the mixture slightly sweet. But instead of packing it into a loaf pan for an hour-long bake, you'd scoop it into greased muffin tins, creating individual portions that cooked in just 25 minutes. The genius was in the surface area. Each muffin developed a caramelized crust all the way around. Unlike traditional meatloaf that only got crispy on the outside edges, kids loved them because they felt like personal-sized dinners, and Mom loved them because you could freeze extras for emergency meals. They'd emerge from the oven with their tops glazed in a ketchup-brown sugar mixture that turned sticky and slightly charred. Served with instant mashed potatoes and canned green beans, this was efficiency eating at its finest. The 1970s didn't slow down for anyone, and neither did dinner. Beef and biscuit ring. This recipe looked impressive enough for company, but was secretly easy enough for a Tuesday night, making it perfect for the aspirational 1970s homemaker. The presentation was pure vintage showmanship. Ground beef baked in the center of a Pillsbury biscuit ring, emerging from the oven, looking like something from a magazine. You'd brown ground beef with onions and seasonings, maybe add some corn or green beans for color and vegetables. While that cooled slightly, you'd arrange refrigerated biscuit dough in a circle on a baking sheet, overlapping slightly to create a connected ring. The beef mixture got spooned into the center. Then you'd fold the biscuit edges over the filling, leaving the middle exposed. 30 minutes at 375, and you had a golden flaky ring with savory beef filling peeking through. The biscuits absorbed some of that beef juice, turning tender and flavorful. When you brought this to the table, it looked like you'd spent hours on dinner. The secret? 15 minutes of actual work stayed between you and the empty Pillsbury tube in the trash. This was 1970s entertaining. Impressive results through convenient shortcuts. No apologies necessary. Porcupine rice bake. While porcupine meatballs simmered on the stovetop, their cousin porcupine rice bake took the concept to the oven for a more hands-off approach. Perfect for the working mothers. Increasingly common in 1970s America, this casserole required assembly time, but no babysitting while it cooked. The principle remained the same. Uncooked rice mixed directly into the ground beef created those characteristic quills poking out, but instead of forming individual meatballs, you'd press the mixture into a casserole dish, making it faster to assemble. The baking liquid was key. Tomato soup thinned with water, or if you were feeling fancy, a mixture of tomato sauce and beef bouillon. The casserole baked covered for an hour, the rice slowly absorbing liquid and swelling, pushing through the meat layer like an edible pincushion. What made this version special was the top, uncovered for the final 15 minutes. It developed a slightly crusty caramelized surface that added textural contrast. Served with a simple salad and some garlic bread, this was the kind of meal that made you look like you had it all together, even when you were juggling 2 jobs and 3 kids. Beef jambalaya bake. The 1970s saw Americans experimenting with exotic regional cuisines, though filtered through a Midwestern sensibility. Beef jambalaya bake was what happened when Louisiana's complex rice dish met the convenience culture of suburban casserole cooking. Traditional jambalaya's hours-long process got streamlined into a 45-minute bake that still captured some Creole spirit, even if purists would call it heresy. You'd brown ground beef with the Holy Trinity bell peppers,